And welcome to Rebel Morning Wood. I am IR Girl, your hostess with the mostess. Um, I was thinking yesterday because I wasn't able to come on, what I was going to talk about today. And was looking, the news lately have just been kind of blah. Nothing really big going on. It's the same thing about THQ and the rest of it's going to be sold off in May and, things like that. It's the same old shit, different day, basically. And lately, as we know in the news, it's just as well. Besides that, it's all about the impact of video game violence and government involving themselves in yet another aspect of the world that they don't need to be involved in. And so, I just it's so important, I think, for me to express how important or how good um, video game video games can be for children. And I'm going to start with I was at work at Best Buy, and and one of my sales was to a woman and her son, and and she was all for his gaming. Said he gamed a lot, and he is just getting Black Ops 2. He was very excited, and he hadn't had it before, and um, he was I'm going to describe the little boy to you. He was a little overweight. I'd say he was about 10, 11. And she said that she thought, that he had played the Black Ops and stuff, and then he played with his groups in a chat, with his friends in chat. She didn't let him play in open lobby. If he did, he had to mute everybody. And I said, well, that's good, because she was watching him at least. But she said he was really good at it, and she didn't want him not to play because of the age thing, that she thought, he could handle it. Plus, she says, he when he games, he's a social butterfly. And so I turned around to him and I says, well, that's good. I says, I bet your friends at school must have a great time playing with you. And he says, I don't have any friends at school. And I says, well, that's a shame. And it breaks my heart to think this little boy is such an outcast at school. And I says, well, that's their loss, that they don't want to be your friend. And he says, they don't like me because I'm overweight. I says, then they're missing a great person, aren't they? He goes, I think so. So we were finishing up the sale. He ran back over the aisle to get a 12, because the 12-month membership, gold membership was on sale for like 35 bucks. And she said to me, he's very withdrawn at school. She says he gets good grades, but he keeps to himself, eats lunch by himself, and because he's picked on. She's had to deal with this with him, since he started putting on weight a little bit. And she says, but online, she says he's a completely different child. And she says, and his online friends are completely different children. And he came back, and I says, on Xbox, I says, are you good? I says, are you good? And he says, he goes, I'm pretty good. He goes, I'm better with my team that I play with. And I says, oh yeah? And he goes, yeah. He goes, we're all about the same age. He goes, and two of my closest Xbox friends are in another country. I was like, wow. I says, that's pretty cool, huh? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I recently, my mom let me make a Facebook so that we could exchange pictures and stuff. He goes, I didn't want to at first. He says, but we've been playing for such a long time that I thought maybe it was a good idea. And he looked at me and he goes, they don't care that I'm overweight. And I thought, this poor little kid, he's 9 years old, and his best friends are ones online. And, and that's what I'm saying is like the great thing about gaming is that nobody cares. You could meet, people from all walks of life, all religions, all ethnicities. And you're rated for, your gameplay. You meet online, and if something clicks with you, like the same game, you have the same game style, you play the same way, you've made an instant connection. And age doesn't even matter. I'm lucky enough to play with some pretty amazing teens, boys and girls, but then somebody else on I have somebody older than myself on my friends list on Xbox, and they're all amazing gamers. Um, and socially, this child, and the mother said, she goes, I probably let him play a little bit too much. She says, but she goes, he has such a hard time at school being accepted by anybody. She goes, and here online, and she goes, and then when they did see him, it didn't matter. She goes, because they already knew him for him. And he was a good gamer, and they were a good group, they were a good team. And so when they did see his picture, it didn't matter that he was overweight. He said to me, he says, they're not he goes, the one kid, he goes, he has really big teeth. but when he talked about gaming, his chest welled up. He was so proud. He asked me a ton of questions about Black Ops 2. He wants to live stream. He has a YouTube channel. And his mother's, he hadn't used it in a while. He was afraid he lost the password. His mother said, don't worry, don't worry. She was so supportive of him. She says, I'll help you. And, I actually gave him my email address, and I gave him my website, though. I said, if you need any help, and I don't know if I was, breaking the rules at Best Buy or not, but I said, if you need any help, I says, shoot me an email. I says, and I'll help you through it. I says, you'll be able to live stream through your YouTube channel. Because he was talking about, this kid knew his shit. He was talking about capture cards, and the mother was like so lost. And I says, start him there. He's young. He can do through the YouTube. I says, and then if he wants to later on, obviously go to Twitch TV and do it, if he likes through there. And to watch this little kid talk about gaming and his friends and his team, and they played on this map and they did this and that, and he was so excited. And when he was talking about school, he was so withdrawn, and the kids made fun of him because he was fat. And all we hear about in the news is how violent video games, make violent children. And here's a kid who, because of the way he looks, isn't accepted by anybody at school. And yet when he goes in and plays this quote-unquote violent video game, he's accepted by everybody. He's not violent. He seemed very reserved, very kind of shy. It took him a little bit to come out to me. Once I started talking about gaming, though, he opened right up. And so I think, all of these big politicians and stuff need to take a look and see. Also, I have a nephew who has Asperger's. And very, very badly. He doesn't, he can't socially interact. I was actually had to leave school. He couldn't, a lot of times when we'll go to see him, depending, I think only one of my kids he really prefers to socialize with and talk. A lot of times if it becomes too overwhelming for him, he just kind of puts his hands over his head and kind of, doubles over. He has it, though, very, very severely. Um, but the other side of that, he is the most amazing PC gamer. And they say that that's one thing about this disease that, when the kid focuses on something, um, he his parents actually bought him a very expensive gaming computer, very top of the line. Yes, it was Alien, and 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 he is to watch this child game. You would think that there's never anything wrong with him. And his community online that he games with has no idea that has this severe affliction of Asperger's. And when we go to family events, 9 out of 10 times he's not even there, um, because he can't bring himself to be around all these people. It's just so overwhelming to him. He doesn't have the best motor skills. He's kind of, he's kind of like, when teens get to that clumsy stage. Hey, Scheme, I just noticed you were in channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You may come on with me, or and I didn't even see. I'm sorry. I was just kind of talking here, getting all kind of emotional about kids, and because it upsets me so much that we hear so much negativity about gaming, and when gaming itself, it affects so many children in such a positive way, and it really brings out the best of them. And children, um, like my nephew who has Asperger's, who can't socially interact. A lot of time, my one son, he interacts with TJ, um, who is King Hacks, but is the only kid that he'll really even, because my other son Tyler, even though to him, that's his cousin. It's not his cousin who has Asperger's disease. It's his cousin. And when his cousin starts getting annoying with it because of his affliction, Tyler is like, well, psh, well, I don't care, but Tyler doesn't, I guess, feels that, if you treat them normally, then he will be normal, like him. But to PC game, like I said, nobody knows that he has Asperger's, because he is so good at what he does in gaming, and he's so into, so, they have invested time. He wants to learn about video games. He wants to learn about video game, how they're made. So, for a child that can't socially interact, he can't even go to school. Um, he's homeschooled because he can't handle the interaction. And the one thing that he is very focused on and very intelligent about is gaming and the dynamics of video games. And so there again, this is an outlet for a child that can't even socialize with people. What a great outlet for him to have, and to be able to develop that. And and he's literally brilliant when it comes to PC gaming. And he's 15, same age as my one son Tyler. So so where we see video games in the news, and that's what I meant when I first went on my rant a couple weeks ago about violence in video games. I had said, they want to put a like a sin tax on video games. I said, well, then I want a sin tax on the news, because I don't want my kids watching the news all the time, because there's so much. It's just so bad. There's nothing, and if there is anything good on the news, it's like a 10-second spot right before the news ends. And and Scheme's agreeing with me. And well, we actually just got rid of one of our boxes. We're almost done with it. The kids watch Netflix. We watch shows together. But you know, they know about news, obviously, because they're updated on it in school, and they read it online. But to sit and watch the news, it's like watching a bad movie. It's oh, the kids Netflix is wonderful, by the way. Um, but it's so, murder and rape, and they're showing the shit from Syria on TV, showing tanks. And I'm not saying that you should put your children in a bubble. By all means, no. But what I'm saying, if you're going to say that a video game, who I think has far less damaging visuals in it than watching some of the news that parents allow their children to watch. I'm just saying, it's just, there's so much good that comes out of video gaming, and it's all being shadowed by mainstream media. And those were, I see this every day working at Best Buy, and I see children who maybe in their schools or their surrounding, they're social outcasts because they don't look like the cheerleaders, or they don't look like the sports kids, or they don't, they don't fit in anywhere, maybe because of the way they look. But when they play a game, they might have hundreds of friends from all over the world, and it doesn't matter because at first quote unquote sight, you know, you are this character, and they accept you because you're a gamer. You're just like them. That's the one common element that we all have, is we're all gamers. And Scheme Channel says he didn't fit in school either, but that was before online gaming. But could you imagine what an outlet it would have been for you, Scheme, if you had had it? You know, on one side where these kids aren't accepted, in gaming they are. And for me, I think what a great boost for them, for themselves, knowing that they're accepted somewhere, other than, nobody cares what you look like. And that's what that kid said to me. He said it didn't matter. Once they did see me, it didn't matter that I was fat. And I just broke my heart. I almost wanted to hug him right there, but he probably would have crawled inside himself. But as a parent, I just thought how sad, that this kid goes, I game with these people and they're my friends. And I believe that he has true friendships with them as well, just because they're online and he hasn't met them physically in person. That when they saw him for the first time on Facebook, they didn't care because they already knew him. They'd already gotten to know him, and he was a great gamer, and they had a great team, and it didn't matter that he was fat because they were all gamers, and that's the only thing that mattered to him. Probably, if he started sucking at gaming, then they might have gotten a little upset, but this game says we would bring Game Boys to school and play Pokemon. But see, and that brought you guys together. I would have hugged you if you were a little kid. But I'm just saying, it's just, it was such a bright spot in my day, and she's like, oh, if we have any trouble setting it up, I says, here's my email address, I says, shoot me an email. It goes right to my phone. I said, if you have any really big difficulties, you can always call me. And she was like, wow, I can't believe that somebody at Best Buy. I says, well, you know what? I says, one thing, I says, your son and I have in common. I says, is we're gamers. I says, doesn't matter what the age. He had a big grin on his face, and it was just nice. It was a nice feeling knowing that gaming brought that to him, and that he was able to meet people that didn't give a shit, that were the same age as him, that all came from different social statuses and backgrounds, and they didn't care that he was overweight. And it didn't matter to them. And that's what I'm saying. I've met so many of, when I played Kings of Chaos for 7 years, it was text-based. We used to talk on IRC. I didn't know what half of those people looked like. For years, I didn't know. But it didn't matter. When I did meet them, it didn't matter that, some of them were overweight, some of them were underweight, some of them were, it didn't matter. To me, they were gamers. I had built relationships with these people. I had built friendships with them. And there are many on my Facebook that I'm still friends with. There's got to be at least 15 on there that I've known now for, gosh, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years now I've known them. I've watched them from the time they were kids. I've seen them graduate high school, and I've even seen some of them get married now. And you can build such long, meaningful relationships with people that you've never met in person. And, I've watched some go off to war. And it's, people don't think that you can develop friendships and relationships from being gamers online. I think you build more meaningful ones because of it. And yeah, it is a long time, it was a very intensive game, and I'm not going to go into it because I wasn't liked by a lot of people in it because of the way I played the game. But I did build some pretty, one of my writers, James Manning, that's where I met him. I've known him literally for about 12 years now. And these people I have, like I said, I've seen them, some of them, most of them were teenagers when we met, and I've been there when they've graduated. I've been there through breakups. I almost feel like a parent to a lot of them. And and now James is married. He's got kids, and God, when I met him, he was he was so young. One of them on my friends list is God, such a wonderful photographer. He travels the world. He's the only one that actually liked me from the get-go. And he still plays this game X amount of years later. But I remember when he was, gosh, 14, 15, and now he's a grown man traveling the world, taking pictures of the world. And it's, what great friendships I've built with people that I probably never would have. And from around the world too. What other area, I mean, that you get to play with literally anybody from any given country at any given day. And just because you guys are gamers and you may play the same way or you communicated well in a match or something, hey, can I add you? Yeah, and then you start playing with them. And yeah, and then look at that, frickin' years later, you're still friends, all because of gaming. So where they say gaming, breeds violence, um, I think it breeds a lot of friendships and a lot of lifelong friendships too. I am so blessed to have um, some of the best people in my life, and they're all from gaming, and and I'm perfectly happy with them. I don't actually have, when I think about it, and I'll be very honest, I'll be very candid. I don't have any friends where I live right now. I have my kids, and because my time is so I don't do the bar scenes. I'm way past that. I don't do clubs or anything. I'm way past that. If I go out anywhere, it's to do some kind of promotion for Rebel Gaming, and it's with my son. And that's the extent of it. I don't have time to do girl nights out, or if I go out to the movies or something, I take my kids. I'm a mom, so literally my world revolves around them, and the rest of the time I'm working. And so when I do get a moment, I like to game. And and I have so many friends in gaming, and I have what I feel that are very real relationships. The only thing they might lack is the fact that we've never physically met. But so yes, when you think that you know um, violence only breeds all of these. I'm just reading a tweet from Andy. Andy KOD77 usually is in my stream every day, and he has been missing the last few days. So I think he's Irish. He might actually be drinking. I'm not sure. so, so, kind of bad stereotype. I know. My bad. But also something else I want to talk about. Around Christmas time, a gentleman got in touch with me, and he said that he was trying to put some kind of event together involving Battlefield, and would I be interested and Rebel Gaming be interested? And I said, sure. Why not? And it just to help him promote it. Really, nothing more. So I'm gonna post the link here in chat. I can't repeat some of the things that are being said in chat. So I'm not going to. Thank you. You're very sweet. Um, I'm posting a link. It's called xboxcharity.com. I'm going to put more press up on it on the site. And this is what it's about. On May 2nd through the 5th, 2013, in Mariposa, California, an Army veteran, his son, and 6 other friends will be conducting an Xbox 72-hour marathon playing Battlefield 3 to raise money for the Wounded Warriors Project. And we'll be broadcasting the event live here, Twitch TV as well, on the site. Here is the site, xboxcharity.com, with the video and Twitter feed. Search and play with them on the now active Xbox server named Wounded Warriors Project Charity. To play alongside with them, it will cost $20 for 2 hours. Pre-order your slot and time for $10. I guess you can pre-order. You don't have to donate 20 all at once. Be sure to tell your friends so they too can watch and play. But I think, if you donate any amount of time, and and that's a big deal to me because I always tell people, we may not believe in the wars, we may not support the wars, but we need to support the people that fight in these wars because they're protecting essentially us, even if it is for fucked up reasons that we don't always agree with. So I think this is a great thing. I will be actually donating $20 so that I can play alongside them as well. Scheme says Mariposa means butterfly. I never knew that. Now I do. So I will have more information the closer that gets, be helping them with some press releases and stuff. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's really sad when you're walking down the street and you see a homeless vet. United States is probably the only country in the world that does not take care of its veterans and its wounded veterans. So we have a big problem in this country. I think what these gentlemen are doing is wonderful, and I'm hoping that we can bring a lot of support, and maybe even people will give money not to play with them. But you can go on the Battlefield server. Let me make sure I got the name right here. Wounded Warriors Project Charity is their server. Everybody knows I'm a huge Battlefield fan, so that's why they got in touch with me. So I will be actually probably dropping in there today to see if anybody's on, and let them know that Rebel Gaming will be supporting and helping promote this 72-hour event. And I'm hoping that I see some of Rebel Gaming community on that day as well with me. And I guess that's it. I wanted to come on and rant a little bit about the young boy that I met at Best Buy, and my nephew, and the gaming positives in the world, and also get this charity out. There's honestly just not too much news out there in gaming. I know there's some releases. We'll talk about some game releases that have just come out, and some reviews that have come out about them as well, and some releases that are coming up. So thank you for joining me, and thank you, Scheme, for hopping the channel. I was very surprised to see you, very happy. You made my whole morning. And I will see everybody tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.-ish Easter time. I say ish because it depends on if my coffee's ready or not. And thank you for joining me, everybody. Have a great